Hello, a very good afternoon, and welcome along to the Chang International Circuit in Buriram, Thailand, for qualifying ahead of, what's this now, Jack? Race 7 of the 2022 Global Series. They are really flying past us now. This, of course, round 4 of the 2022 Global Series. The penultimate round, we're into squeaky bum time, and it's time to go qualifying ahead of this one. Jack Appleyard and Jack Gorst, as usual, to talk you through all of the action, Jack. And first of all, great to be back in Thailand.
Yeah, cracking to be back in Thailand, isn't it? Of course, first time we've been back there for 3 seasons. Of course, the MotoGPeSport has not been quite the same, but yes, first time in real life back there for 3 years. And it's going to be interesting here as well as in real life, as we see a little bit of bumping and barging on the way down into turn 2 there. But Thailand's going to be a tricky one. Of course, it's a very fast track and has some more tighter stuff around the second half of that, but still quite fast and flowing. So it's going to be a tight one in eSport. I imagine that a lot of the lap times around here, they're going to be kind of, well, I think your kind of top 6 and all that are going to be within half a second of each other quite easily. So it's certainly going to be highly contested. That's one thing for sure.
Yep, I agree with that, I think, actually. For the first time in a very long time, I agree with you, Jack. I don't believe
really?
it. We've come to an understanding over something. Clearly, our relationship is moving in the right direction.
Making strides.
We are. In terms of the championship picture, then, we should really...
It's close, yeah.
We should really have a look at that, just to update everyone of what happened last time out at round 3. Currently, 4 points separating the top 2 men in the championship. Trast on 72.5, clear of Andreas Severi on 68.5, but only 0.5 back on Severi is Adrian, meaning our top 3 in the championship are split by only 4.5 points. But the 4-man coming into this weekend, our race day, which is coming up shortly, is Christian MM17, the LCR Honda man. A double victory last time out, brilliantly done from the Spaniard in Jerez, and then backing it up at the Red Bull Ring, means that he's closed right in on our championship leader and now sits just 12.5 points adrift.
Yeah, definitely back on form again, isn't he? I mean, it's the first time in quite a while we've seen Christian with that type of race-winning pace, as we just see there, Adrian go down on his first lap, and then Jack Hammer running a little bit deep, but keeps it on the black stuff. So this valid lap will continue then for Jack. Mr. T's also had a crash. But yeah, Adrian, I mean, certainly starting to make it all click here in 2022, and it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. So not bad at all. Where is he at the minute? He is on a valid lap at the moment. It looks as though Jack Hammer's going to be the first to string us across the line, as though Vindex got the hooks in pretty well here. So Vindex might actually pip Jack Hammer to the post as we come through that final first sector. So coming down then, of course, this is the big talking point in Thailand, this dead stop final corner. First gear right-hander, as we see there, Spadalongo tucks the front in the background. Jack Hammer comes across half a second slower than Vindex with a 26.0, then 4/10. Look at that. Christian MS17, the man on form at the moment, goes right to the top. See what these two boys can do coming across the line. Trastevere, where will he go? He's valid. His lap actually looks like it was invalid. So the 3-time champ will have to wait until next go around, but so far then, Christian M17 looks like he is going to be the man, unless this Suzuki man, Andreas Severi, has something to say about it. No, just misses out 68 thousandths of a second back.
Well, he does have something to say about it, as does Piero Ricciuti as well. Look at that, 0.4 of a second was Christian MM17's advantage, but suddenly that has been cut down to just the blink of an eye. 34 thousandths of a second, separating our top 2 with Severi only, double the advantage that Christian MM17 has over Piero Ricciuti back in 3rd. So it's pretty tight out there after the first run-in. And I think it's about to get even tighter, Jack, because look at this. Yep. Adrian, the 2020 World Champion on the Repsol Honda, firing through so far. Fastest through Sector 1, fastest through Sector 2, Sector 3 coming up very shortly indeed. and he's fastest once again. I think this is going to be good enough for pole position.
Yeah, certainly could be then. We're going to sweep through turn 10 now then, flick left, and then it's a slight kink right. Got to make sure you get it all the way over. Don't touch the curbs too much on the inside or you lose your drive, and then make sure you get it stopped down into here, backing it in nicely there, Adrian, all nice and controlled. Hits the apex perfectly, drops that ride height device down, fires it out of the final corner, and he does go provisional pole then by 67 thousandths of a second. So certainly a good opening lap there from Adrian to get him on top of the board.
Certainly is, of course. The last time that a Repsol Honda was going round the Chang International Circuit, Marc Marquez was picking up his 8th World Championship, his 6th MotoGP title. And
that was a big weekend in general for Marc,
certainly
wasn't it?
Because on the Friday he sent himself to the moon.
Oof, big one.
And then came back on the Sunday to beat Fabio Quartararo and win the World Championship. Goodness gracious me, how much has happened since then. Wow. Nearly 3 years on, 4 surgeries, 1 big high side.
An entire pandemic.
Yeah, plenty's happened. What?
Yeah.
4 teammates as well, potentially. By the time we go to 2023, 3 teammates from Lorenzo to Alex Marquez to Pol Espargaro, now Joan Mir next year. There's plenty been going on over the past 4 years. If you have, or 3 years, should I say, if you have just woken up from a coma or something like that. There we are. There's your update.
Well, hopefully you haven't.
I mean,
a coma is a very bad situation.
Certainly is, but if you have woken up from a coma,
positive news if you've woken
thing.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
and also a surprise as well if the first thing you do after waking up from a coma is stick on MotoGPeSport qualifying for race 7 in the Global Series.
I mean, I'll commend you on the commitment.
I do as well. I would probably say put the iPad down and say hello to your family first. But once you have done that, then you can press play again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And watch qualifying for the Global Series. Why not catch up with what's been going on? And if carrying on the theme, 2020, you might, well, actually, if you went, if you sort of had your incident, whatever happened at the end of Buriram 2019, well,
Go
what
back
happened
and watch.
there? Andrea Severi won the world title in 2019, and then Adrian won it, all virtual, of course, because of the pandemic in 2020, and then last year, Trast won it back at long last to become a 3-time champion, which means we come here today fighting out for the World Championship with 3 men having been crowned world champion and everyone trying to beat this man from making it 4 championship titles.
And the best part is those 3 men we just listed there, Trastevere, Adrian and Andrea, all of them 4.5 points apart in the championship with only 4 races to go. So it's going to get very, very spicy indeed here in the last 4 races of MotoGP eSport, and of course this is qualifying for the 7th race of the series. Looks as though no one at the minute. Ooh, I tell you what, look at that. Christian MM17 through the second split. Red, he is under. Best split through there then, coming halfway around the lap. That was close for Trastevere. Needs a lap here actually, Trast, doesn't he? We know it's personal best because he hasn't put one in, but we don't know if that means it's going to be any good or not. So, as he comes through the third split, we'll make sure that we keep an eyes on that one. Here is Christian coming through the third split, and he's still up then. So, Battle of the Brothers is back on. Coming through turn 10 then. Going to get it flicked turn right now. Here he is. Can he depose his brother off the top spot? We'll find out in just a few seconds.
Here he is into the final corner then, the LCR Honda man looking for a hat-trick of pole positions. Can he do it? Here he is across the line now. Good enough.
Whoa.
Oh, and by some margin as well. Look at that. 0.2 of a second clear with 6 minutes to go. He's going to take something pretty special to dispose the Spaniard off of top spot. Meanwhile, Trast across the line. That's a banker lap. You needed that. Settles into 5th.
A full Travis Pastrana at the top of the gap then. Look at that. 199.199. Lovely stuff. Piero Ricciuti then. He's 3 tenths back, but still on the front row. If he can nick into second place, this will do him very nicely. And he does. 0.167 back then. Piero Ricciuti on the full factory Ducati goes into P2 provisionally. But look at that. Adrian is firing back already. Red through the first split. He's already just been knocked down for third, and he's going to kick back.
He's sparked into life as this qualifying session. Here comes the Repsol Honda man. He's been in the shadow of his brother for the past 2 rounds, potentially a 3rd round in a row here as well, and it's just faded through that second sector. still on course to improve, but not on course to be faster than Christian MM17. And hang on a minute, what is that? Tati go with a red sector through the opening sector? I don't believe it. Surely we're not going to see the Indonesian on pole position. What a turn-up that would be.
That would be fantastic. Of course, close to being a home race for him.
Whoa!
That looks like he hit the limiter there on the curbs coming through turn 3. Of course, very, very fast corner, that turn 3. I think Scott Redding had a big crash there on the Aprilia a few years ago. One of the first visits we had to Buriram. But here we go then. This is the final corner for Adrian. He's still PB, 2 tenths off, remember, so this is going to be very close indeed. Can he leapfrog Piero Ricciuti? He does. Ooh. Oh, look at that, 32 thousandths off from Christian. So he closes in, close but no cigar for the pole position.
The gap has been shortened then with 5 minutes to go. 32 thousandths of a second now the difference between the top 2 men in this one. The brothers, the Montenegro brothers, Christian and Adrian, both on Hondas, and looking to try and dominate this race 7 of the 2022 Global Series. Here's Hugh Mastru, making his second appearance in the Global Series after he debuted last time out. We can now see, great to see as well, his lovely little face in the bottom left-hand corner as well. What a looker he is.
Yeah, handsome-looking young man.
They managed to ship out a Tech Trois Factory Racing T-shirt for him to put on as well. He's done his hair. Big Max Biaggi fan, as we can see by the number 3, borrowing the Emperor's design.
Yeah, I wonder if he's from Rome.
Potentially.
Very, very possibly. Spadalongo then.
Spadalongo.
The only man on a valid lap at the moment. Seems as though most of us are either been in the pits or just coming out of them now. Coming down then through this fast turn 3. I think it's 4th gear or something like that. They just get on the brakes for a brief moment and then throw it through. Keep your eyes shut and make sure that it's, well, all good as you come out the other side. Now, this is a very tricky section of track, actually. They often say about Thailand, track looks simple, but it is anything but. It's very technical indeed. You've got to keep it nice and hooked over to the left there before you fling it into this right. And there's about 2 different apexes there coming through the right. This is another tricky one. Very easy to run wide there, that corner which Spadalongo just went through. And coming through the 3rd split, he is still PB. So certainly a decent lap coming in here from Spadalongo. And, well, he's only got a 10th up to this man, Jack Hammer. So he may well leapfrog a couple of positions here.
Yeah, this looks to be a good lap so far from Spadalongo. Of course, he is a rookie in this championship. It's been a tough season so far. Can this be a bright spark? Well, that's a good performance, that. Up to 7th, fronting row 3 of the grid. And if he can hold on to that, I'm sure he'll be happy. Meanwhile, Vindex then. Well, is he about to join the party? Red through that opening sector, as his Yamaha counterpart Trast as well. Vindex, we know, has the talent. Another of the rookies is just potentially starting to find his feet. He's faded in that 2nd sector, but in recent weeks, Vindex has really started to bring the fight to those big 6 we've been talking about throughout this year, and with Jack Hammer seemingly just having an off day at the moment, he's not going to improve on this one, it looks like, as well. Maybe Vindex can jump himself up into the top 5.
I mean, as you say about Vindex in the top 5, he finished 6th and 5th in the 2 races last time out. So that is by far the best performance we've seen from him over a full race day here in the eSport Championship. Look at this camera, this is lovely, isn't it? Curb to curb, going to flick it left now with Trastevere. Is he behind Vindex on track or is he ahead of him? Not too sure. No, Vindex is ahead of him and goes, look at that, front to the 2nd row, 0.299 off. That's very good indeed. Trastevere is going to follow him up very, very shortly. We do cut back to him now, on board with the 3-time world champion. Where will he go? Just pinches that 4th place off him, a full 10th ahead of his Yamaha counterpart.
Tatico, once again, has got it absolutely dialed in through that opening sector. For the 2nd time today, he goes red, the fastest of anyone through there. Faded through sectors 2 and 3, but watch out for him regardless of where he starts on the grid tomorrow. It looks as though he's more than happy of getting that Gresini Ducati stopped into turn 1 and then down into turn 2 as well. We could be seeing the Indonesian eyeing up a few dive bombs here, there and everywhere. Meanwhile, we'll stick with the Suzuki man. 6 at the moment, but is this going to be good enough for the front row? Maybe even pole position. Here comes Severi, 3rd. And look at that gap as well, only 34 thousandths of a second now separating our front row with just over a minute to go. We're into crunch time.
Well, we said it was going to be close at the top, but we didn't expect this close. Just 3 tenths covering the front 2 rows of the grid then. Piero Ricciuti, look at that, he's going to get a nice slingshot line through the final corner to start this next lap. That first one didn't go the way he wanted to, invalid halfway round. But with 52 seconds left, this is it for the Ducati man. If he wants to get onto that front row, he's got to nail this lap.
Clock ticking down, 45 seconds to go. Pressure's on here for Ricciuti. The factory Ducati man has had a championship that's stalled so far. Finds himself down in 6th, 22.5 points adrift, a pole position, and I'm sure he'll be hoping a race win on race day here in Buriram will really kickstart his championship charge ahead of double points at the final round. What can the man in red do? Fastest through Sector 1, coming up towards Sector 2 shortly here as he flicks it left. A tricky corner this. Double apex left-hander, keeping it on the left-hand side of the tyre for a long, long period before then picking it up and chucking it right once more. It's an improving lap time, but maybe not just quite good enough for pole position as the checkered flag comes out. Christian is in pit lane, so he will not improve. Severi has exceeded track limits. He won't improve. Adrian is on a poor lap time, so he won't improve. Comes across the line there. So all eyes are on this man, the factory Ducati of Piero Ricciuti. Can he pull something out the bag in towards this final sector? He's looking for an inside line. He's trying to get it stopped, and he's wide. It's not going to be good enough. He goes wide, and that will be that.
So then, pole position goes the way of Christian MM17 for the 3rd time in the last 3 races. He really is on a roll, the man that has been picking up the big points recently too. Adrian, his brother, follows him up in 2nd, just 32 thousandths back, and then another 2 thousandths back from him is Andrea Severi, once again putting in a solid qualifying performance. He'll be there in the races. Piero Ricciuti 4th from Trastevere and his Yamaha counterpart Vindex in 6th. Then Jack Hammer 7th, Spadalongo 8th from Davide Galigna completing our 3rd row of the grid. Then Tatigo, and unfortunately for you, Mastru and Mr. T, neither got a lap in, so they will start 11th and 12th in Buriram.